Welcome to ProjectME, the podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, the founder of ProjectME, multimillionaire entrepreneur, former TV newscaster, money-making expert, female empowerment speaker, and self-proclaimed office supply addict. My mission is to take the mystery out of making big money. Every week on ProjectME, the podcast, I'll share success tips, strategies, and stories from other entrepreneurs, experts, and millionaires, showing you exactly how you can achieve your most exceptional life. Now let's get to it. Exciting announcement for all of my listeners. I've officially opened my exclusive group, the ProjectME Passive Income Posse, to the public. This group is by application only, so we can keep the group high vibe and spend our time, energy, and expertise only helping those of you who truly want massive success and impact. You get live weekly trainings from me, special guest coaches, and direct access to me and my business partner for all of your questions. To learn more and apply, go to projectmewithtiffany.com, click on Work With Me, and select ProjectME Posse. And of course, any questions, feel free to DM me at ProjectME with Tiffany. Welcome to the podcast and posse, ProjectME with Tiffany Carter. I'm your host, Tiffany, and we are going to get down with the question, do you have an upper limiting problem, and how to stop this sabotaging pattern? Some of you who have read the book, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, know what an upper limiting problem is. Others of you who have not read the book, I'm going to share it with you. This is my, by far, favorite personal development book of all times, and I have read many of them. And I'm going to read a couple things from the book that are really important for you guys to know to understand or get a refresher on what an upper limiting problem is. But we all do it. We all do something or multiple things when we are afraid, even if we're not conscious of it. I'm so conscious of these things that it's laughable. And it's not enough to be conscious of them, although that is obviously step one, awareness, right? And then step two, acceptance. Step three is action, right? So if you have the awareness and then accepting of yourself that, okay, this is what I do when I'm experiencing an upper limiting problem, or this is what happens, it's not enough. You have to take action in order to do a pattern interrupt. Otherwise, it's not going to work, or you just drive yourself crazy, like I have many times, where I know what I'm doing and I'm very aware. I'm like hyper aware because of all the work I've done. And then I know what I'm doing, yet I'm doing it anyway. It's like now I'm like deep into like episode 512 of my 600-pound life. And now we're, 6 hours later. That is one thing I do. I start like dissociating when I have something big coming up. It's like a form of numbing out, but that's sabotage, right? Like what am I really getting out of being in a deep Netflix type hole? I'm not getting anything out of it. I'm not saying it's not a good thing to binge watch stuff and for entertainment and enjoyment, but it's a matter of observing the extremes and is it really serving your highest good? I mean, we know it's not serving my highest good to watch that many episodes of my 600-pound life. I just find it fascinating. So let me read a little bit from this book. So with Gay Hendricks' book, again, The Big Leap, I want to read this. If you're willing to adopt a playful attitude towards yourself and your shortcomings, you can make extraordinary rapid progress. It's easier to chuckle over things than to fret over them, and chuckling is much more fun for the people around you. Here's an example of a lighthearted wonder. In one of my advanced groups for executives, some of the participants began referring to the upper limiting problem by its acronym, ULP. They pronounced it as gulp. One of the group's members said he remembered a comic book character saying "ulp" when they encountered something unexpected. It didn't take long for it to catch on. And then the whole day, everyone's saying like, oh no, I'm in the midst of an ulp or a gulp. So I love using that, right? I mean, I'll even say it to myself like, uh-oh, I'm in the ulp zone. I can feel it. I can feel it coming on. So here is what you're going to do first. Because like I said, you have to have awareness first, and then acceptance, and then action. So in order to have awareness, right, I think it would be helpful, and you can tell me I'm wrong, but I think it would be helpful for me to give some examples of how the ULPS, how it shows up in your life. So here are some of the most common ways that upper limiting problems present themselves in our lives. I'm including myself too. It comes up as worrying, blame and criticism of self or others, getting sick or hurt, like injured. And that was big. That's a big one of mine. I used to get sick all the time. Squabbling, just having like tiffs with people in your life, hiding significant feelings, not keeping in agreements, so not being in integrity, making promises and then backing out, not speaking significant truths to relevant people, and deflecting, like brushing off compliments is a really good example of deflecting. So you're calling someone because you want to like help them with their problem and hear them vent about, their latest drama in their life. If you're doing that, you're really deflecting the focus off of where you are trying to go next in your personal life or career, and you're getting absorbed in other people's shit. So there are some examples. For me, worrying, like that anxiety, that ruminating, that overthinking, that analysis paralysis, this is definitely an ULP situation. And then the other one I have to be very mindful of is getting sick. So depending on when you're listening to this, last week was my launch of my first ever course under the brand ProjectME with Tiffany Carter. It's my signature course, Selling with Soul. And that is something new. Is launching a course new to me? No, but it is new to me under my personal brand where my name is attached to it, which is a very different animal. And it is new in technology. New in how you get the word out to the people, new in how I talk to the people and encourage them to take the damn course that's going to change pretty much instantly if you follow exactly what I tell you, your income, your sales outcomes, all the things. You have to put in the work, but the stuff works. It's my exact method. So I for sure had to balance my mindset and the whole ULP thing during the pre-production part of putting together the course, and then leading up to launching the course, and then being in launch of the course. Oh my Lord, there were 2 different times during it I felt like I was starting to get sick. I felt it coming on. For me, it starts with like my allergies flare up. Now I could sit here and go, oh, it's really windy outside, and that's why my allergies are flared up. But because of reading this book and all of the personal development work I've done and I do, if we're really being honest, it is not the damn, wind. It is the upper limiting problem, because I have anxiety, which is another one, right? Worry and fear. I'm in fear of how many people are going to buy it. I already know people are going to like it. Not just like it, but love it. So I'm very confident in my product, but it's more about how many people are going to buy it. I hope enough people buy it to cover the costs of all the thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars I spent in putting it together. I'm really out there. It almost feels like, I've not written a book. I will, but it almost feels like writing what I imagine writing a book is like, because this is like a tangible, even though it's digital, but a tangible product with workbooks and all these things. And, it's me. You're learning from me. There was a lot of stuff that came up. And so when I noticed I started not feeling well, I went, hold on, this is an ULP situation. I need to get control of this and not go down the rabbit hole with it. This is why it's so beautiful to have the awareness. I didn't beat myself up over it. I accepted, which is step 2. I accepted that this is something I do. It's a ingrained behavior. We all have them. I accepted that why I'm doing it. And then I knew I had to move into action. If I didn't move into action, I just stayed in awareness and acceptance, I would have already had a full-blown sinus infection by now, or lost my voice and not have been able to even promote my freaking course, which, by the way, I've launched other things and have actually lost my voice, or I was so sick, I lost my ability to come on and promote and to share and do the things required for a successful outcome. Well, that's a form of self-sabotage. Do you guys see how an upper limiting problem is a very sneaky way that leads to sabotaging the very thing that you want? So what I did when I was, like I said, starting to feel sick, I was aware of it. I accepted it. And then, okay, now is action. Now what do we do? I said, all right, I need to regroup. I need to be in surrender here of the outcome. I need to remind myself that the right people will come, and not everything we touch turns to fucking gold, you guys. Okay? Not even McDonald's and Coca-Cola. They launch new products all the time that might not perform as well as they thought, might be a total flop. This happens in business all the time. If you're not trying new things, you have no idea what works. Sometimes it doesn't work because of how you packaged and promoted it the first time around. So you go back again. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen. So I had to have that come to Jesus talk with myself. The right people are going to come, and Tiffany, you're doing the best you can on any given day, and so is your team. And that's that, and let go of the rest. And so I had to calm and soothe my nervous system. I took a bath. Of course, I took all the supplements, the vitamin C, and anything additional that was on my plate that wasn't absolutely necessary for my launch and for my health was removed off my schedule. And guess what? I didn't get sick. And I could do knock on wood, but now I'm going to, because now I'm paranoid. If you guys can hear that. So I made sure that I took action to help prevent that. Now, when you're first starting this, don't be upset if your upper limiting problem and your behaviors ends up sabotaging the very thing that you want. That's going to happen. And what's crazy is now you're kind of aware of it. Even you might not be aware of it until it's a little too late, and you're aware of it and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I did it. Then you're out of acceptance because you start beating yourself up. It takes a little bit of time in order to be able to identify it and have the discipline to catch it, right? So a lot of people also do upper limiting with incessant scrolling. This is something I have to be careful of myself. Not where you're scrolling for market research or looking for information or inspiration, where you are in a deep scroll hole that is not serving the greatest good, that is not serving your goals, that is not helping your outcome at all. It is just sucking your time and your energy. That's another ULP. Here's where it can also show up in your personal life. You guys know I love analogies. So let's use dating. You are even, and you could be dating or you could be in a relationship, but let's say you're dating and you're so worried about, being able to get married by a certain age. And I'm thinking of a former friend of mine who is probably still like this to this day. She was so focused on getting married by the age of 30. It was a worry of hers. Clearly it came from something deeper. That would mean she's not good enough if she didn't get married by 30. And because she worried so much about it, when she would date, she was not light, playful, and fun. She was fucking intense and probably brought up this goal very soon, which PS would make any guy or girl run. And it was too much. So 30 long and past, now her next thing was, well, for sure I've got to be married by 35. And then her energy was even more intense with the worrying, with, being kind of having that desperate energy, doing blame and criticism, hiding significant feelings, not speaking significant truths to people, not keeping agreements. I mean, all over the place. And then what happened? Do you think that she got married by 35? No. So her own upper limiting problem of the very goal that she so badly and truly did desire, her own upper limiting things prevented her and sabotaged her from the very thing she wants. And I know to this day that she is still not married. And so if you don't have this awareness and acceptance and go into action on this stuff, it can over and over again sabotage your cash flow, your abundance in love, your abundance in health, your abundance in business. Absolutely, without a doubt. I've seen upper limiting problems when people are trying to conceive. And they go into that worrying, blame, and criticism. They get sick. They get hurt. They get injured. And guess what happens, right? When we're stressed, it has a physical response on our body, which as women, it affects our hormones, which makes us less fertile. And therefore, you don't get pregnant. So this is the kind of stuff that occurs. Because I love this book so much, and I want you guys to be able to get a great grasp on this ULP and be able to work through it. It is one of the best things that I have learned for myself personally and in business, for sure. I want to gift you guys with this book, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. I know there's some of you who are like, girl, I'm not going to wait to win something from you or do a giveaway. I'm going to buy it now. Okay, go. You can go on Amazon and buy it. They have used ones too. This book has been out for a long time. And if you guys already have the book, I would take this episode as a sign from the universe, tapping you going, you need to go pick up that book and read it again. You need to go pick up that book and read it again. Okay? Because there's some reason you were energetically attracted to this episode. And there's a reason that I felt so compelled to cover this topic and publish it on this date. Because all of my episodes, they are not FMA. Although I do say a lot of things FMA from my ass for my new listeners. My episodes are planned out intuitively. I drop in and ask myself what it is you guys really need that would help you, whether it is your mindset, whether it's in business, whether it's just in life. And I make episodes around that. So here's what I'm going to do. For the first 10 people who leave a 5-star written iTunes review, and you don't, again, have to have Apple. You don't have to have an iPhone in order to do it. So for the first 10 people who leave a 5-star written iTunes review, and just make sure you put in the review, put reference something to the ULP, the upper limiting problem, and I'll know that you heard this episode. So for the first 10 people who do it, I am going to gift you the book. You're also going to need to put your Instagram handle, because obviously, how am I going to get in touch with you in order to get your address to send you the damn book? So we need that. This is for US and Canada only. I am not allowed to do giveaways outside those two countries. I wish I could. My lawyer won't let me, and I don't know all the legalities and the reasons for it. I wish I could open it up to everyone, but I'm bound by that, and I know well enough now in business to make sure I listen to my attorney. So I really appreciate all of you guys taking a moment and having awareness and acceptance around these ULPs. I'm so curious what types of things you discover about yourself, DM me at ProjectME with Tiffany. I would love to know, like, is it that you get sick? Do you go into worry? Do you do crazy, like, dissociative behaviors, like where you end up in the Netflix land for 6 hours? Do you bury yourself in ice cream? What happens? And I think that would be a really good start for you guys to be able to pinpoint those things and just observe yourself in a non-judgmental way. This is not meant to be harsh. This is meant for our greatest good and for you to serve at your highest level for your families, for your friends, and for all the people that you want to help. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you guys. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.